Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make your own font in Inkscape 0.47. It's a new capability. It's not very well documented, but it works, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. The first thing we want to do is go to my website and download the file called fontstarter.svg. This just make it a lot easier if you start with the same thing I'm starting with. I've opened it here, and I'm going to configure my screen in a special way that makes it easier for me to make a font. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Align and Distribute Objects palette. Then I'm going to go to Text, SVG Font Editor. Next thing I want to do is save this as another name so that I don't override my font starter template. I'm going to call this My First Dings, and I'm going to save that to my desktop where I can find it easily. Now, first thing we need is a shape. So I'm just going to draw a shape here, and I'm going to center it on my page using the alignment tools here. I do have to use all the rules that go for font characters. I can't have overlapping paths. I have to have all closed paths. So it just is a prerequisite that any of these shapes have to be font-worthy shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here where it says Font 1. This is the default name, Font 1, default family name, SVG Font 1. Then I'm going to click on the Glyphs tab. I'm going to select the first one here for A. Just click on that line, and then I'm going to say Get Curves from Selection, and there my star appears in the preview text. More often though, we're going to want characters from a different document. So let's look at how we would do that. Okay, I have another document that I've opened that has some characters that I want to work with. These are my creations from another font that I made. And I'm going to select those, copy, go back to my original, and let's move this out of the way. Paste. Okay, now I want to size these together because I want them to be proportionate to each other. It's not all that important with a dingbat, but it is important with a regular letter. So I'm going to size these together. That looks about right. And move them so that one of them's on here. I'm going to center that, and then I'm going to go through the same process. Font. I'm going to go to the B glyph this time and say Get Curves from Selection. But you'll notice that nothing happens here. Well, there's two reasons for that. One is that this preview text is previewing this phrase, sample text. So there's no B in sample text, so my letter doesn't appear there. So I'm going to retype this to show A, B, C, D, E, so I can get the first letters in my alphabet. You still don't see it. Well, this brings to mind a problem that happens often when you import characters or copy them from somewhere else. And there's just another step you have to do, and that's to go Path, Union. Now, if we go through this, our character will appear here. So we need to go through those steps one by one. We move this out of the way. I'll show you a little trick here. Click on that and just use these buttons to move it into the right place. Path, Union. We're going to go to the C glyph now, Get Curves from Selection, and you get the idea. You would go on and on like that. There's a couple other things to point out here. This blue line is your baseline. If you're making a regular font with letters, then you would use the blue baseline. But if you're just doing dingbats, you can pretty much fill up the whole page here. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now when we've populated this font with all the characters that we want, then the next thing we need to do is save it. And this is actually an SVG font file. It looks just like a regular SVG, but it has a font embedded in it. Then we're going to want to go to the internet to convert this font, because SVG files just aren't that useful. We need a true type font, so that's what we're going to do. we go to this site called onlinefontconverter.com. We can skip the login. Then it's going to ask me if the fonts that I'm uploading are legal for me to convert. They are. These are my own designs. Now we're going to look over here for this button that says select fonts, and then we're going to go to our desktop, and there's the file myfirstdings.svg, and we're going to select that, and it's working right now to upload that. Now we're going to see my file and then a list of different font formats to choose from. There's true TTF for true type font, so that's the one we want. We're going to click that, and then we wait for it to respond. There it responded very quickly with font 3933.ttf. I'm going to click on that, download the file, and then I can come in here to my downloads and I can open that, and you'll see that all the characters that I put in it only has 3 because we only put 3, and you have this default name SVG Font 1, and I can install this font just like any other font on my Macintosh. If you have Windows, you would use your normal font installation procedures. If you want to change the name of the font so that it's easier to find in your programs instead of using the default names, then you're going to have to do some XML editing, and I'll refer you to my website where I have the written instructions for that. It's just easier to do it that way than to see it on a video. So that's all there is to it. That's how you make your own font, and I hope you enjoy it and make some great fonts and have fun.